call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We shall have roll call, please, Carolina.
Councilmember Gollison?
Yes.
Selby?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Dahl?
Yes.
Mayor Walters?
Yes. Well, greetings and welcome, everyone. We shall start our meeting once again with Mayor Waller's quote for the day. Today I pulled one from, comes from Swahili Proverbs. Swahili is, of course, in Niger, Congo, over in East Africa. Swahili Proverbs are known as Matali. They are deeply embedded in Eastern African culture, conveying wisdom, community values, and life lessons. So a little life lesson for us. A boat doesn't go forward if each one is rowing their own way. Okay, we shall move on to, I have one addition before I bring it back to the council. We have Devin Dibdahl would like to approach the council under citizens' comments, item B. And then if there was, just a second, Devin, I'll call you up in a minute. I'm just going to bring it back to the council to see if they had any other, I know you're anxious. We'll get you up here, buddy. Hang in there. Yeah, the council has any additions or corrections, items they'd like to add, change? Hearing none. All those in favor of the, well, I need a motion, I guess. We'll entertain a motion to approve, I guess.
Motion to approve the agenda with the addition of item B on citizens' comments for Mr. Dibdahl.
Oh, second.
There we go. Thank you, guys. We have a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Joel, you were actually up first, but with if it's all right with you, I'm going to let Devin have at it. So, Devin, if you want to walk up to the mic, just state your name and for the record.
I'm Devin Dibdahl of City of Morris. We just need a upgrade on that ladder truck, and I was hoping the city would be able to help out with the fire department on that. Thanks.
All right, Devin. A little plug for the ladder truck. Thank you. All right, anybody else like to approach the council? Hearing none or seeing none. Joel, I'll bring you up, and he's going to give us a presentation on our Bremer Insurance. So, the floor is yours.
Appreciate you guys. Good evening, council members. Thanks for having me tonight again and your partnership over the years. And as we transition in name, the day-to-day in the field and the things that we do really stays the same as from Old National to Bremer and to now continue on the insurance side. So what stays the same, and certainly is my focus on cities, but also the league, and it's really for the benefit of the city. So I'd like to give a little flavor as I go through insurance, certainly of a recapping of your insurance, but also what the broader market is doing, and then how that really compares to the league, because you really are insulated from a lot of the headwinds that you see in your other lines of insurance, whether that's personal lines, whether it's business, your farm. You see still prevailing challenges a lot on the liability side across insurance. As we sit in a really litigious society, more funding is fueled to push cases to court, to finance investment companies actually financing liability firms that specialize in lawsuits, and that's just coming at us. The property side, it still does face some headwinds, but it's a lot softer of a lift for us all in this year, and that's because we've had some favorable storm years, but it's a slippery slope, right? It's a few bad storm years away before they reevaluate. But when looking at the league, last year they had a property rate decrease. This year they had a property rate decrease, and that still is atypical when you're looking at the broader insurance industry. We'll get to your work comp as well, which had a significant rate decrease. And that basically is their loss cost rates and projections were just down than what they anticipated. So they achieved less losses and favorable losses than they thought they did. And that directly is reflected then back to the members, which are Minnesota cities. And you see that in the form of lower rates. So when you look at your net, it is down roughly 21,000, call it 7.5%. A good chunk of that is resulting from your work comp, and twofolds, a rate decrease, but also you had a really noticeable decrease on your experience mod, which is again your trailing 3-year average of claims, a reflection of your safety efforts and your corresponding claims performance. So that's really strong, and you continue to trend in that same direction. So this time next year, knock on wood, barring any unforeseen things, you'll continue to see a rate experience mod reduction, which is really positive, because sometimes you might do all the right things, but you still might just get something that happens. Somebody gets hurt, and it goes within the work comp system, and that's part what it's for. But in these years where you can see it and claims stack up on the positive side, it pushes down directly in premium. So actually, without the addition of the liquor store, your property premium would have decreased year over year. It rose slightly because of the addition of that liquor store. And then once the other one sells, then we'll formally remove that. But it's just placeholder for the time being. Auto liability is one of the areas in the broader segment, but certainly the league as well, where they did see some rate increase, and that's a lot. It's some in liability costs, but also when looking at physical damage cost. You take your car to the shop and you look at technology and you look at things to replace. Those costs have just really increased over the last few years. So we're seeing that as well. So all in all, when looking at your renewal overall, looking at the league, they remain very stable. It's shown in certainly premium and rate reductions, but also stability of coverages and things that they do to help proactively look out for cities. One of those being cyber. They have a full cyber team, an individual that works on their cyber security and gives you resource tools, assessments. Actually, this year has been, tail end of last year and this year has been the most I've had clients get hacked. I mean, completely shut down, hackers emailing me, different things to do it. So it's here, it's real, and it's for us all as stewards of the city, is certainly information, but across your landscape of business, hackers are very sophisticated, and they don't care who they target, who falls for it. But so just so you know as well that there is tools, there's resources, there's things in the backside that we look and help infuse with the city. Nothing to do or really look at, but your work comp. It's for illustration purposes of the total premium, but we did change that date to a calendar year end to align with your payroll projections, and talking with Whitney, it was just an easier runway to do that. So that was about the only change effective date wise. But any overall questions, you guys, regarding insurance?
Liquor liability, just looking at that big increase, is that based off of sales, or is that
So
just
that's part sales, but that's actually more semantics. So you have $2 million for liquor liability. The league used to split it previously, $1 million on your underlying liquor and $1 million on your excess. They removed it, the dual buckets, if you will, and put it all under the underlying. So it looks like it's an increase, but if you work out the math, it's actually the same. You just have less umbrella premium than you would have. So,
Okay.
but it does look like a change.
Thank you. It's just eye-opening on the workers' comp with the the reduced claims and the things that we're doing. Great job in-house on our safety. And
It's tremendous. This is
That's huge.
above normal. And
yeah, hopefully we can keep that rolling.
yeah, you can see too, and because we do also a deductible analysis to see where it stands as far as credit goes and what pathway you should take, but I also give a little snapshot of your claims on that second page. And you can see it down, and those three big numbers were in the high mod years. And then so each year, a number drops off. And you can see in the current year, again, knock on wood, that's the lowest you've had in quite some time. So it's going to continue that way. But you're right, it's really tremendous results. So kudos to all the efforts and everyone involved.
That's really good. Good report. We're in a good spot. I like it. Questions for Joel, council?
Any decrease is a good decrease.
Yes. It's, well, you know, everybody who did, you have to deal with insurance a lot aspects. It's just not the case in most of the world.
No, it's not.
And so when you see it, it's good. But
Yep.
the league also really analyzes, and they look, and they have really strong actuaries and reasons behind the numbers. And it's for cities, so it's good and fun when we can have these. So appreciate everybody.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Joel. Thanks for coming in.
I will move approval of a resolution accepting our insurance renewal proposal from Bremer Insurance at the same deductible that we've had previous years.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve our Bremer Insurance as presented. We'll just ask for a voice vote on that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we have no public hearings tonight. We shall move on to approval of our regular meeting minutes from May 26, 2026.
I will move approval of the regular minutes from our last meeting.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve our May 26th, 2026 regular meeting minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And now we have the condensed version of those same minutes from May 26, 2026.
I'll move approval of the condensed version of the minutes from May 26, 2026.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve our condensed meeting minutes from May 26, 2026. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we shall move on to our consent agenda, which tonight consists of audit of city bills, our gambling reports, application for exempt permit, Minnesota Deer Hunters Association, Palm de Terre. Item D, application for exempt permit, Morris Fire Auxiliary. Item E, the Morris Transit Report. And the last item F, pay estimate number 9, Project 1 Construction, Inc., Morris Liquor Store. And I will move approval of the items on the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second for the items to approve our items on the consent agenda. I will bring it back to the council for discussion on any of those items. I see the liquor store purchases for the wine at $1,438. I suspect that might be going up a little bit. Let's hope, right?
For which line item is that?
It's just, I'm just making a general comment.
Sure, yeah, it'll continue to go up as we
Yeah, yeah,
continue to fill
that's-
it up, yeah.
Now we got that extra space, that's what, I guess
Yep.
where I was going with that
Right,
comment.
yeah.
Yeah, it's great to see. All
Line
right.
item 12, Craig's tree service for ash tree removal, is that out of our city funds or is that on a Emerald Ash, some assistance back from somewhere?
I think that's just part of the shade tree removal budget. If individuals ask and pay for the emerald ash bar removal, then they can submit for partial reimbursement.
Okay, thank you.
I know my neighbor had a big tree, and I'm assuming that might even be that tree, I don't know. It was huge, I mean, it probably costs that much to take down a big tree like that.
Well, liability,
It's expensive.
equipment,
Yep.
manpower.
You have to get special
I think it was
certification, I
100.
think, from the state too.
Yeah. All right. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. I'll just ask for a voice vote of approval on that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we shall move on to petitions, requests, and communications. Item A is a change order, Morris Municipal Liquor Store, and I guess City Manager Johnson, you just want to speak to that?
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. So this change order, if you look at it, it actually does include the concrete that was included in the previous change order that the city council had approved. Chatting with Whitney on it, it was just something that Ringdahl included together so that they can submit them on the same change order paperwork. But the only new item that the council will look to approve would be that added dumpster expenses for Stevens County. And story behind that is, so at some point in the middle of this project, Stevens County had passed different regulations that said all construction needed to be disposed of, all new construction, needed to be disposed of within the county. And so instead of Project One being able to follow what they had originally planned for their bid that they had submitted on the project, they now had to work solely with Engelbrechtsons rather than going through like a bid process to see low bids, what would come in as their lowest cost there. So it's just added costs that they did not foresee just due to Stevens County passing those new regulations there. But yeah, still under 20,000 in total for net change orders on the project, and still under budget for what total construction cost was estimated to be. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's all I've got there on that item.
Any discussion, members of the council, on that? Hard to predict something like that, that's gonna change midstream, so, yeah, makes sense, I guess. I guess I can move approval of the change order for the Morris Municipal Liquor Store.
I will second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to accept the change order for the Morris Municipal Liquor Store. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item up is a certificate of substantial completion for the Morris Liquor Store.
Yep.
Counselor, how you doing?
Oh, sorry.
Would you care to?
Yep.
No, I'll let you speak. I was just recognizing Joel.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep, so.
you don't get by that lucky. You just can't just slip in, right? All right, there we go.
So, chatting with Whitney again on this one, we are recommending that you approve the certificate of substantial completion. We've just gotten to the point where we're at the stage in the progress of the work when it's all been designated and seen as sufficiently complete, according to contract documents that were originally approved. And yeah, we just had the ribbon cutting earlier today. Store is open. People are able to go in on 13 State Highway 28 is the address, I believe. But Ringdahl and Project One have both been great to work with. They're already talking about scheduling their 1-year warranty meetings just to make sure nothing comes up within that time that they need to address to make sure that it's a long-lasting product for the city. So yeah, they've been good partners with us on this one. So we're happy to keep working with them to make sure there's nothing different that pops up that we're not seeing right now in that year.
How much money do you hold back even after this?
How much money do I hold back even after this?
We'll pay out once the final pay estimate comes through, which hasn't came yet, but then you guys approve the final pay estimate.
Well, I mean, I see they still have the doors to the beer cave that needs to be done.
Right, so
So-
nothing has been finalized yet. At the bottom, it shows estimated work to be completed yet.
Okay.
But it's substantially complete for occupancy and use.
And then we had some shingles, that had blown off, and that's all been resolved as well, right?
Yep.
The trust? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that even though what'd you say, the final bid comes in, or not the bid, but the pay estimate comes in, will we pay that even though the doors aren't in?
So they'll wait for that until then.
They probably
They'll wait
won't
for
submit it
that.
till it's done.
It should be within the next 2 weeks that door comes in. They have that temporary one in now.
'Cause I did point out on the ceiling, there was two places in the peak of the ceiling that the seam was coming loose.
Right, yep, the building set a little bit, and they'll address all of that.
Yeah, I just didn't know that when you do the certificate, what it means, because usually when I don't close out until I hold 10% until it's
Right, yep.
fully
We
done.
still have retainage on our books
Okay.
that we have not paid out.
Okay.
They're in charge of the landscaping also yet to be completed around the building?
Yes, some riprap and stuff is yet to be laid. With these heavy rains, it's washed
Yep.
away some dirt and such, so.
Thought it looked awesome. It's nice to see it completed ahead of schedule. We thought it was gonna be middle of June, and it's open, so good job.
So just for clarification with these questions that came up, by going through with the certificate of some substantial completion, and the only thing it says on there is the interior beer cave, siding, door installation. If there's other issues that have come up between now and then, is that now in the next year, that's all
Yep.
covered
Yeah,
by
in
this?
that
So this
warranty.
doesn't waive anything like that by,
Right.
by going through this? Okay,
Yeah.
that's kind of what.
So, I mean, they have to complete the outside work and everything. They don't get paid for that before it's completed.
Correct.
Okay. Because if you give them the money, it's hard for them to come back.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Obviously, you've dealt with projects where
Only takes one.
you have some leverage if you haven't paid somebody, yes.
Takes
Yeah,
one.
we'll get there.
If you haven't paid them yet, they're coming back.
Well, and they have a pay estimate there of the work that needs to be complete yet, so.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
That's-
just,
All this documentation is different than
Right.
private sector, so it's.
All right, any further discussion?
I'll move approval of the certificate of substantial completion for the Morris Liquor Store.
I will second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the certificate of substantial completion for the Morris Liquor Store. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, item C, Tourism Board recommendation. And once again, City Manager Johnson, if you'd like to highlight a few things there, that would be great.
Thanks, Mayor. The Tourism Board last met on the 2nd of June to discuss various issues and are making recommendations on 4 of them. They are the Fall Into the Arts Festival, the Stevens County Fair, September Fest, and Morris Open Mic Night. So, just to start on the discussion side of it first, Fall Into the Arts Festival, that's scheduled for September 12th, 2026. It'll be the annual celebration of the arts and local artists. It'll have an art competition and 2 auctions, vendors, live music, a dance, food booths, and more. The theme for 2026 is Celebrating the Prairie, and the Tourism Board recommended that City Council approve Tier 2 marketing for up to $4,000. and the Stevens County Fair. Sorry, I should pause. Any questions on the Fall into the Arts Festival there? Okay. Moving on, Stevens County Fair. These dates will be August 11th to August 16th. The Stevens County Fair is the largest free fair in West Central Minnesota. The event showcases arts, entertainment, agriculture, and the community of Morris. The event will have many 4-H shows, free stages, acts, and some great grandstand entertainment. And the Tourism Board recommended that City Council approve Tier 1 marketing support for up to $6,500 and include all of the different marketing tools that you see listed there. Any questions on that one? Okay. Septemberfest. This was an event that was a first-time ask for the Tourism Board. So the date on this event is September 20th. This is a family-friendly full-day event with food, drinks, live music, dancing, activities for the kids, a carnival, raffles, and a silent auction. There will be a beer garden with a TV for adults, as well as baked goods and a garden produce at Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary Catholic Church. The Tourism Board recommended Tier 3 marketing support be approved by the City Council, and that is good for up to $1,500. They had originally requested Tier 1 support, and the Tourism Board thought, given the scale of the event and that it's their first time asking for marketing support, that a Tier 3 was more appropriate.
And it being a one-day event.
Right, correct, yeah. Not really a big pull for lodging taxes that way, for heads and beds. Open mic night. This was also a first-time ask for marketing support from the Tourism Board on this event. So the dates on this will be from May 30th to September 26th. And it'll be the last Saturday of each month from 7 to 10 p.m. So the one in May obviously already happened. I heard it was a good event out there, but people will meet at Eastside Park to share music, poetry, and spoken word pieces in the band shell there. It's a safe and supportive environment for amateur performers to hone their craft, tackle stage fright, and be among fellow artists. Everyone's welcome, and they intend to have food trucks and outdoor games and activities set up for folks. This one, again, Tourism Board recommended Tier 3 marketing support for up to $1,500 just because it was a first-time ask and they didn't necessarily see a big tourism draw for single-night events like that, but still wanted to support them.
It's nice to see the park being used.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a good deal. I like it.
Yeah. But with that, I'm recommending that the City Council make a motion to approve the Tourism Board's recommendation to authorize a marketing request at Tier 2 for Fall into the Arts Festival, Tier 1 for the Stevens County Fair, and Tier 3 for Septemberfest and Morris Open Mic Night.
I'll move approval of the Tourism Board recommendations as they were discussed.
I will second.
Thank you. And thanks, Owen. We have a motion and a second to accept the Tourism Board recommendations. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item D, Flattery and Hood Engagement Letter, Law Enforcement Contract Services. Once again, City Manager Johnson, if you'd like to touch on that.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So this is kind of a continuation item from our conversation on May 26th during that work session where we discussed our law enforcement contract with Stevens County. So just again, some history on it. That contract was first approved in 2022 and it's set to expire at the end of 2026. And just because our attorney services are provided to the city are primarily county employees, our typical attorney team is unable to provide legal counsel during these law enforcement contract conversations. So that spurred me to reach out to the league and some other folks to see who they've used in other communities similar to Morris when this type of issue came up. And that led me to Flaherty and Hood, which is the legal team assigned to the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities, which is a member-based advocacy group that the city is already a member in. So one of the benefits to being a member of this group is a discounted rate for negotiating these kinds of labor contracts and different personnel issues. So, and they also let me know that this kind of situation between city and county is really common for greater Minnesota cities and communities, so they have a lot of experience in assisting cities on this matter. And their services to the city will include a sheriff obligation analysis, which would allow the city of Morris to better understand any additional services that the city would like to continue or discontinue from the baseline services provided by the county, kind of what we had talked about there during that work session, better understanding what the baseline is and if we needed to go above or beyond that. The city of Morris always builds some contingency money in the general fund for these types of unforeseen expenses, and this is a really good example of a good use for those funds. And sometimes being good stewards of taxpayer money comes with a cost, but we've got the engagement letter included on there. You can see the discounted rate that they've given us and kind of a breakdown of their services to the city. And it'll include anything within the realm of what we're talking about for law enforcement. So I kind of asked them about some other items like depending on like our council costs for Joe and Tegan, like if we can talk to them more about like how that shakes out, given that we're unable to use them for these law enforcement conversations, like if we can have more of a conversation about what true costs for services would be now that we know that we can no longer use their counseling, I guess, on this matter in the future. But yeah, I'm excited to work with them. They're familiar with Morris, but yeah, I'd recommend the council approve the Flaherty and Hood PA engagement letter to receive special legal counsel and professional services to the city of Morris related to law enforcement services or any related matter.
Are we planning on meeting with them, or are you just planning on discussing it with them?
Planning on meeting with them. Right now I'm just discussing with them, like I've sent over our current contract, our notes that we had during our work session, some key contacts at the county for them so that they know who to reach out to if they have any questions for them on their side of things. Yeah, just kind of starting to get the lay of the land so they can get their research team together and started working on what all of this would look like between us. But yeah, then we would eventually schedule some meetings between everybody so we can sit down and have more conversations.
And at this point, they probably haven't designated counsel yet either. I'm
They
assuming.
haven't. I mean, they have a relatively tight labor attorney team that they use, so it's just going to be, I think, between 3 people with CGMC, so it's going to be shared.
Okay.
Shared duty, I think, between those 3 folks.
I will move approval of the Flannery and Hood engagement law letter enforcement contract services.
I will second.
Thank you. Good work on that, by the way.
Yeah,
That's
thanks.
great. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve Flattery and Hood engagement letter law enforcement contract services. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, our last item under petitions, requests, and communications is item E, 2025 Relief Community Forestry Grant Agreement. And once again, City Manager Johnson, if you want to speak to that, that'd be fine.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this one's been kind of a long time coming, chatting with city staff on it, but the city of Morris received notice from the state of Minnesota's DNR that the application from the tree board and city staff submitted for the 2025 Relief Community Forestry Grant was awarded the full amount applied for, that $88,498. I'm recommending the City Council approve the 2025 Relief Community Forestry Grant Agreement with the State of Minnesota's DNR to accept the $88,498 in grant funds to carry out the project they had applied for. So the legislature allocated $7 million in 2025 to the relief program to improve forest health across the state. That would include tree inventory, planting, assessments, maintenance, improvements, protections, and restoration. The goal with this grant money is to improve Morris tree canopy with 5 key objectives. That'll be emerald ash borer and forestry outreach, training, planting, young tree maintenance, and ash tree removal. The cost split between these 5 objectives is included in the application that was submitted to the DNR on pages 15 and 16 of the grant here on this item. And the project timeline will span from spring 2026 to summer 2027. And key players will include the Public Works Director and staff and the tree board, and there will be Conexiones, Stevens County DAC, and the Morris Public Library as partners on this project as well. But should be a good project. They've got 42 trees total, it looks like, that they're looking to plant, 30 bare root and 12 containers. Any kind of outreach that you can do on emerald ash borer is so important. They're going to do some training amongst tree board members who will then look to train others after they've been trained in, so that they can kind of cut down on costs there. So you only have to pay for 2 training registrations instead of however many they can train up afterwards. But yeah, I'd recommend council approve that grant agreement.
I will move approval of the 2025 Relief Community Forest Grant Agreement with the State of Minnesota DNR for the acceptance of $88,498 in grant funds as listed.
I will second.
That's great. We got a motion and a second. Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll put that money to good use. We have a motion and a second, I guess, approving their 2025 Relief Community Forestry Grant Agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. All right, well, kind of looking at the ordinances and resolution here, it looks like we got a little bit of ahead of ourselves up under citizens' comments. We have a we'll just take formal action on it here as well. I guess it doesn't hurt. We'll have it doubly approved.
Yep.
Oh boy. We have a resolution accepting the insurance renewal proposal that we listened to from Joel Kwa. And that is, of course, done by resolution, so. I guess I can move approval of that resolution accepting the insurance renewal proposal.
I'll second.
Second. All right. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution accepting the insurance renewal proposal. I'll just ask for a roll call vote on that resolution. Carolina?
Councilmember Dolan,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Goldenson,
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. All right, city manager's newsletter. I'll turn it over to City Manager Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Liquor store ribbon cutting was held today at 9 in the morning. We had city staff, elected officials, construction partners, and other members of the community out there to celebrate the opening of the new liquor store. The liquor store was closed on Monday, June 8th for the transition to the new liquor store. It was a big effort. We had a lot of city staff out there moving stuff around, so just want to say thank you to everybody that helped with that. I know we had some city staff out there until 9-10 at night, and it was a long day for those folks. So super excited that we were able to get most of the heavy lifting done. I know Dean and his team are looking to be completely out of there for sure by the end of June, but most of the heavy lifting between stores is completed now, so that's super exciting. The original timeline on this liquor store opening was June 19th. So it's really great to be ahead of schedule like this on a project, especially after the storm damage that the roof took on. You know, all of those challenges just goes to show what a great team city staff, the project one, and Ringdahl made on this project. But trail reconditioning. So the city had not received final grant agreement documents from the state of Minnesota yet, so I could prep them for this council meeting. We do have them now, so they'll be on the agenda for June 23rd to both award the bid and grant awards from the state. So that's just something that the city engineer from Moore Engineering had recommended, that we award both of those at the same time to avoid any kind of confusion. And the project webpage is actually posted and up on the city website for this project as well. That was a requirement from the grant agreement that we got from the state, was that we need to have a webpage dedicated to the project on there. So if folks are curious, it should be one of the first news and announcement items that pop up on there, the widening and reconditioning of that trail surface, with a nice little project map and some key contacts you can reach out to if you have any questions on the project. But check out the city website. You can take a look at it. Columbia Avenue Reclaims Project. So the city had gotten a few questions from the public on traffic flow for this project. So again, because it's mill and overlay or reclaims, the project will be able to have that constant flow of traffic throughout, because you're just going to be taking up a single lane at a time. So it's just a matter of slowing down, making sure you know when you can come through or not, but it should be relatively easy for people to get to and from where they need to be, and shouldn't cause any kind of like access concerns for hospital or the school or anything like that. So just wanted to echo those answers I gave to other folks here, just in case there was any confusion. And then conversations with the chamber and tourism boards on those two open positions. So this topic was introduced to the tourism board and chamber boards initially right away, just to see if there was any interest in pursuing the idea between those groups. But because both the tourism coordinator and the chamber executive director positions are open, City of Morris and the Morris Chamber began discussing the possibility of position consolidation. So we would take two part-time positions and fuse them together to make one full-time position, to hopefully garner more competitive candidates for that position. Hopefully get somebody to really think about moving to Morris area, or if they're not moving, have a better reason to change jobs with more hours and better pay, more variety in what you're working on too, so you can focus on both external and internal economics, I suppose. But yeah, I've been reaching out to other Minnesota communities of similar sizes to learn how they operate these functions, as well as the Minnesota Tourism Association, to get a better understanding of best practices for different chamber and tourism models. There's three main models. Our current model, as we have it now for tourism, is where tourism basically functions as a department head or a department division. So that's how it operates right now in the admin department, I suppose, for the city. Second model would be it operates as its own Center for Visitors Bureau. I don't think that's something that I'm looking to have done right now, just because of the way that lodging taxes are handled with the city. We're set up to get them directly from the state. I just don't think it would be a very clean process to try to move to something like that. So I would not recommend moving to that option. But the third is what a lot of communities our size do, where it's the tourism function is housed within the chamber, and that you'll have a lot more of those consolidated positions like I've talked about, where you have one person that's wearing both hats and they just kind of split their time accordingly. And then or if you have a bigger area, like I know Lake of the Woods, they have a bigger regional tourism and chamber that they I think have 4 staff total, 2 working on chamber, 2 working on tourism, and they just all share, share office space, and, yeah, they can kind of blend, on those operation needs as needed a little bit easier versus when you're housed completely separate and you don't have any kind of paperwork put together on what it would mean if, a chamber person would need to help out on a tourism item or vice versa. I know, that's something that was a problem before when we had,
Yeah, it was just difficult to try to
yeah,
really find out if we were getting what we were paying for.
right,
And what had happened was that we were given X amount of dollars to tourism, and that person was spending probably, it was difficult to measure where that person was spending their time. If they're spending 80% of their time on chamber stuff,
yeah,
and then of course then you get into which you had to draw the line on what is what. There seemed like there was a
Yep.
little bit of fuzzy and gray areas there between what's tourism, what's chamber.
yep,
And so, yeah, it was real difficult, and I think the decision was made to just make a break. So, those types of things are gonna have to be worked out if we're gonna entertain something like that again.
for sure, yeah. I know that kind of management arm is something that I've been asking from communities as well, if they do have, both separate positions that are supposed to be strictly chamber or strictly tourism, how they keep them honest in that, and then if they do have a consolidated position where you have more flexibility to do both, to carry out both functions, what that looks like in, terms of like time tracking, I guess, to just see
Right.
what we're spending time on for the chamber this week. Maybe that doesn't necessarily balance out to 50-50, but I know next week I'm going to be a little bit more tourism heavy, so I wanted to spend some good time this week on chamber activities. Just trying to find the balance there a little bit better on, how we can manage that from the tourism board and chamber board perspective.
Yeah,
If
and
we
we
go
had,
that route.
we have to be very careful in how we spend that tourism money, as you know, and,
Yep,
and that's kind of where we
But
ran into it a
the
little bit.
idea of it, the money was to be spent on coordinator
mhm,
/ so if you can roll that into one position and that position be managed by, if that becomes a department head, so then you have that
Right.
overseer, because I think that was part of the other problem too. The city was just managing the tourism piece of it
Mhm.
somewhat.
right,
And then, so, as always, if somebody's running a program, there needs
Mhm.
to be a hierarchy and who's following up with them, in my opinion. I mean, and I think that would help because yes, like you said, some weeks you're gonna spend more on tourism, and some weeks you're gonna spend more time
Mhm.
with chamber stuff. And I don't think you can say, oh, you've only, done with your time,
yep,
but it all rolls into one, like I said, just like a department head, they are in charge of it, but there's someone managing
Yes.
that person.
yeah,
So I guess I can see that working
Mhm.
better than
Who pays for the chamber?
so it's private membership fees.
Private membership
out
of-
fees is what
Which is
pays
why
for
it's-
the director of that?
It's all
Yeah.
self-funded.
So you have two entities funding it if you roll it together?
Yep, and
Yeah. That's
yeah,
gonna be a hard ask.
it's, yeah,
It was really difficult to manage, and I understand in theory, I get it.
Yeah.
You wanna try to put together a job that looks like you can offer benefits maybe.
yep,
And that's one of the hangups that chamber position has, there really is not a lot of benefits tied to it. So, yeah, you're right. To attract somebody that wants to move,
yeah.
I get it, but
Do we not have a tourism coordinator anymore?
We
No.
do not, she resigned,
Okay.
3 weeks ago. Sorry, I should have addressed that right away.
I'm sorry, wasn't she just hired?
Yep.
She was hired.
Okay, I thought I missed something. I was like-
No, she started just a week after I did, so,
Okay.
she came as a surprise to me. But she just pretty much said that she thought the role was going to be different from what it was. Didn't, like the restrictions placed around the coordinator position. But a lot of that just comes from how stringent you have to be with lodging taxes.
Right.
You can't spend time being an event planner. You are specifically focused on marketing events. And I think that was a lot of what you wanted to focus on was how can I help events get bigger and
Agenda
better.
presented by the tourism board instead of my own personal, what I wanna push, so there was some push back and forth on some of that, and it just said, you know, we have a tourism board, here's what we're gonna work on, and it just wasn't uniform
some
with
great
both
ideas.
sides. Yeah,
Great ideas, but you gotta stay in your lane, you know, to a point. That's just kinda the
Yeah.
way it is.
And that's sort of why I thought like maybe a position consolidation would help aid that flexibility a little bit. So you feel like you can have a little bit more variety where I'm helping out on the chamber side with like helping plan events or do the events. But on the tourism side, I'm strictly marketing those events with that money that's coming in.
ideally, it'd be nice to be able to see the two work together as one. I mean, they're very common with a lot of the things involved with the community, so I guess see if we proceed and advertise and see what kind of response we get and just police it a little better maybe.
Yep.
We do have an interim chamber director, just so you know, for those you don't know, the chamber board, hired Maddie Grove. She's gonna act as our interim director for now until we can hire a permanent replacement, so most of you, I think, know Maddie. She's a junior out at the UMM. Just really energetic, doing a good job for us, so we're pretty lucky to
Yep.
have her.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
like her, she's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Her plans are for the summer.
Yep, she's gonna work right up until school starts.
Okay, that's what I would assume, but just
Get us through all of
clarifying.
the summer activities that the chamber has planned, you know, our music in the
Yeah.
park events, crazy days, and, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah. And Sarah did a great job like getting all of that paperwork and all of that conversations prepped ahead of time so
Yeah.
Maddie didn't, wasn't thrown right into the fire.
Really, the bands are all booked, I mean,
Yep.
yeah, Sarah did a great job, she handed it off, and Maddie's just picking it up and going with it, so it's going good.
Yeah. My last item on here is just a legislative session wrap up again. I had a League of Minnesota Cities webinar dedicated to discussing legislative topics, and then tomorrow night there's going to be a regional coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities meeting in Alexandria. Again, dedicated to review the outcomes of the 2026 legislative session. Starting to work with state and federal elected officials to try to schedule meeting times to get connected with their staff and them to have more conversations about what's needed in Morris's community in terms of infrastructure financing and housing needs and other things like that that just make more sense to tackle with a partner from the state or federal government, so that the taxpayer burden on city residents isn't so extreme to tackle some of those bigger projects. But yeah, I already met with a staffer from Michelle Fishbach's office yesterday. That was great. And it's a good time to get meeting with them because they're all up for re-election anyway. So they're gonna try and get around and meet with people to talk to them and make sure that they know that they're thinking about us and all that good stuff. So just makes it easier to try to set. Just makes it easier to try to set those up. But yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Any questions off our city manager's newsletter? All right, hearing none, we shall move on to our board updates. I actually was gonna report about Maddie Grove, and of course I already did that, so would there be anybody else that has anything to report on the respective boards? Hearing none. I do have a couple of other items of business. First of all, at the ribbon cutting this morning, I just don't think I gave Dustin Thomason enough credit. I did recognize Project One and their group, but Dustin was an integral part of this whole process, and of course he works for Ringdahl Architects, and I really want to give a shout out to Dustin for all of the design work that he did. He was the person that designed our store, so he deserved to have a little bit of recognition for his work. He did a really great job, and I think Whitney had mentioned that he was really good to work with, and throughout the whole process, he was there from start to finish, so shout out to Dustin, thank you. Just a thing I was thinking about the other day, a little over a year ago, I think we talked about a sidewalk assistance program, and I think we haven't had a discussion about that, and I know Becca had put some things together. have we got any applicants at all? Maybe we just need to get that word out again that we do have an assistance program out there for people, for homeowners that want to take advantage and repair their sidewalks. I think we should just revisit that whole assistance program and maybe get it out there, if it's on our website or what, but
I think so.
Council, do you remember how we structured that program again?
It was
I
only a
thought
certain
it was-
amount
it
and
was
first come,
up-
first served.
First come, first serve, and each resident was qualified for X amount of dollars, and then we had a maximum threshold of, was it 5 grand, 10 grand? I can't remember.
I think we had, wasn't it 15 in there, but it was maximum of 1,500 each?
I think it was something like that.
Yeah.
But I just wanna get the
Close.
word out there. I think we could revisit it.
To be looked at, I believe, by our Public Works,
Yeah.
making sure that it
Mhm.
qualified or that it was required.
This is the time of the
On
year
our
that
safety issue.
people are gonna probably take a look at that kind of stuff, so I just thought we'd just revisit it and get the word out. Maybe we can put some on the website.
Yeah.
All right. And I just had a question about the water reconditioning. I know we talked about our water tower project. When is that scheduled? I was trying to recall the other day, and I know we're preparing for it with our, our increases, and somebody asked me the other day why our stormwater or sewer and all our rates are going up and it's getting so expensive, and my answer was, well, we're kind of preparing for our water tower project, and I didn't really know what day or what year. I know it's coming up, but
Yeah. I don't know off the top of my head, but I can get
It's in
back
our-
to you on that.
3 to 5 year plan maybe, but, okay.
Mhm.
That's all I had.
Yeah. I know Benson's repainting their water tower right now.
I know it's gonna be a big project when we finally tackle it, so it's good to prepare and get the money set aside now, and
Yep.
so it isn't gonna hurt so much when we finally get to it. All right, any other business to come before the council? And of course, we have our park tour afterwards, so meeting adjourned.